Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be adding a new feature to my latest airplane, and this will have carryover effect into some of my other creations, including the cargo helicopter. But I just wanted to kind of bring to everyone's attention that sometimes the most work goes into things absolutely behind the scenes. You have a beautiful big creation, lots of blocks, lots of effort visible, and then you have something like a microcontroller that is just you programming and coding in essence, or obviously a Lua display, stuff like that. And while it does not necessarily look big and flashy, it absolutely has a huge effect on the usability of the creation. So you could see here in my helicopter, we have a couple of cargo bays here. You can see 1H4, 2H4, 3H4, 4H4. So this is large helicopter. It has 4 H4 cargo slots for Unicon containers, and you have all these buttons. So you could turn all these on. Obviously some are mutually dependent on others, and that's fully intentional. For example, the blue, like you could turn on all of the Unicon slots or the H4 slots. You could see all those could be on, but you can't have on this R10 with this yellow bay. And likewise up here, if you activate this R10 slot, all of these H4 slots will go away. Now this works. This is actually a pretty good system, and the idea with this single one here is you could load up 3 containers and put 1 loader here in the back. But this was sort of an idea that I had as I was working on this vehicle here, my newest airplane, that has 3 Unicon slots like this, and it only fits 1 R10 in the middle. I got to thinking, well, what if you want to use this back connector for the loader? Because obviously the idea is in this one we have the back R10 connector right there. Now in another creation, what I've done, I actually had a separate system that would engage this back connector as just a regular button. But you can see here I even have a large one for carrying a boat, and then I have the 2 green vehicle. Now I didn't have consistent color coding, so it is what it is. You do have to read the labels to understand what is going on. But you can see when I turn on the R10 Easy Vehicle Connect, this one is not released, obviously, so you can drive a vehicle, plug into that, and this one is released until you connect the front one. Then that back one automatically kind of gets activated. And I have a simple microcontroller, a very simple microcontroller here for what I call my R10 Easy Quick Connect system, and it's literally just something like this, where if the front is not connected, then the rear is released. So, and obviously I have a release cargo button, like a major release cargo button. So as soon as we try to release the cargo, then obviously this is also connected. But if you ignore the top part here and just look at this, front is not connected, then the rear is released. So you just connect the front and all of a sudden your rear is activated. Well, for my airplanes, this served or caused a bit of a bigger problem, because now not only do I not have multiple R10 connection spots, you have the ability to load up the front 2 Unicon slots, and now you can't plug your loader in because this slot is actually deactivated, this red one, until the red is connected. So in essence, you could never load up this back area here with a loader. So I actually had an idea. What if the first time you press the button, it goes into Vehicle Easy Connect, and then the second time you press the button, it actually enables both slots? Sounds simple in theory, right? Like first time, obviously it's going to go through that path and just disable the rear one. Second time it activates both. So I got to updating the microcontroller itself, and the first thing I've done is, you could see here, it looks like a bit of a mess, but in essence what we have is the same what I just showed you in that simple microcontroller is done here. So when the front is not connected, then the rear is released. Once the front is connected, then the rear is activated. Now it gets a little more complex than that, because now we also have other things feeding into our systems such as here. And you could see what I've done is the first time you press the button, I'm just going to show you this really quickly. First time you press the button, okay, and we have not activated the second press of the button, right? It activates this SR latch. And that is our flashing light mode. That is our easy connect mode. So it's flashing and now you're good to go. The second time you press the button, right, what's going to happen is now all of a sudden it pulses into this AND controller here, which says, okay, we've pressed it once and now we've pressed it a second time. It actually activates this second SR latch, and this one is our solid light. And there's a little more up here that I'm not going to really get into, just kind of explain to you, but in essence now what happens is that second SR latch goes into this AND function, which ends up not releasing this rear release, right? It's coming out of the NOT part. That's why NOT and into AND, so it's not being released. Sounds simple enough. It just really is a good system, especially because a lot of these vehicles that can only fit into this plane, like the Rat Task for example, are small enough that they don't need the rear connector. Now for the cars, that's pretty much all of them. So I could have kind of just probably done the easy way, is had the front and rear on separate buttons. So just added another button here and you would have been able to turn on front, turn on rear. But instead what I've done is this. So you press this, it's flashing, and you can see here, this one is released, this one's not released. Press it a second time, everything's solid, we have it not released, we have it not released. And I also disabled, previously what would happen is if you pressed one of these, this would automatically turn off, because the idea is that you'd either have 3 cargo containers or 1 vehicle. But now because this airplane isn't really configured for that, now you can have all of these active at the same time, and then you could kind of turn on or off what you need. Like for example, if we have our loader here in the back, just turn off the green one, and you could have the front 2 activated. You could also have obviously everything activated and attach your vehicle to the front. But you could see now flashing, this one is released. And if we go into our Rat, turn it on, let's see how easy or not we load it up. So now it's going to attach to the front, okay? So it attached itself to the front, and I also made the light not flashing once it is connected. But you could see this one is now activated. It's not released. So obviously, like, luckily the trailer hitch is far away enough that it's not going to cause some phantom physics. But you could see now you're actually able to have this vehicle here. You probably could have even put a small Unicon container here and a small Unicon container here. Now if we release this, we can hop into the vehicle and we could turn on that back connector. So we'll just drive out. And now if I turn on this twice, so first time releases the quick connect or easy connect, second time it releases that one here on the back. Okay, we're in. You can kind of skid around until it centers it a little bit. I'm not quite sure if the door would close. Just judging from this, it seems like it probably wouldn't, but oh, let's see. Right on. It actually does close. It just kind of pushes this up a little bit, which is totally fine. But now keep in mind, you'd be able to fit 2 Unicon containers and this little Rat. So I'm just trying. Like, I spent an hour on this, and I figured I was gonna show sort of everyone here some of the thought processes that go into these creations, because it's easy to just kind of move past some of these, call it simpler things, and look at like the massive part of the plane, like the whole body, the whole like hull of a ship, the whole fuselage of a plane, right? But there's actually a lot that goes in to all of these, whether it's just really small bits like I just showed you here that ends up taking an hour or 2 and ends up creating something that works much better. Because for example, now we're flying in our plane and you'd never be able to fit this truck there, this little kind of Rat, if you didn't have this microcontroller. You'd be hard pressed to do any of that. So that is one of those things that I really find cool, and I kind of wanted to just show you that. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Huge shout out to all of my supporters. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate all of the extra contribution that you give me, and I hope that the bonus content that you receive is enough to make up for it. So I really appreciate that. And of course, I do want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this community, for commenting, for liking the videos, for subscribing, for just everything you do. I do take a lot of pleasure and satisfaction in knowing that I'm giving to the community and that the community is appreciating all that. So thank you all, and until next time, happy Stormworksing, everyone. Just a fun little bonus content tidbit for you that have ever been struggling with a microcontroller. I actually almost gave up on this twice within my hour-and-a-half span of working on it. I had it so close, and then it just wasn't working. And then I changed some things. I switched out the SR latches, I put an XOR function here, I tried a bunch of different things. This took me a while because of the iterations, and after all that, guess what I realized? I realized that my connections were still plugged in to the original R10 Easy Load system. So I was going and making all these changes, making all these adjustments, and my microcontroller wasn't even plugged in. So just, if any of you have ever had that, I'm sure you have, it is so frustrating. Like, I was literally working on it and nothing was happening, or it would happen but really weird. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't even plug in the right things. Like, the front R10 wasn't even plugged into the microcontroller I was working on. So slap in the face for that, and just a big big one of those big errors that you end up making, and you're just like, really? That seems so obvious, but when you're caught up in it, you sometimes do miss it. So anyway, that's a little fun fact for you guys here.